Alright, what's up YouTube? Welcome to New Parents in Training. So today we're gonna compare two vacuum. One is from iRobot. This is what the 694 model, and I got one from Yeedi, and this is just their Yeedi vacuum robot. So this video is sponsored by Yeedi. So anyway, let's get the show started. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. I'm just gonna unbox the iRobot first. Alright, so they have a box within a box. So let's see here. Here we go, iRobot Roomba 694 model. Instruction. Looks like a filter. Here's the robot itself. Power cord and charging station. Alright, so here's the robot itself. Oh, there's already a air filter inside here, but I guess they provide you with an extra. Okay, so that's that, and let me open up the Yeedi. Instruction, the charging station, power cord, and the vacuum. So here's the vacuum. This is the two, and let me go try them out and see how they fare compared to each other. Now let's just talk about some of the physical features. If you open it up, so there are some of the tabs I need to remove. So once you open it up, that's where you see the trash bin, the dustbin. Now you can remove it to the amount of trash, and it tells you what you need to do up here. This is the hard on-off switch, and this is a reset. Now on top you will see here the power button as well. That's a soft button. So technically you do need to bring this over to on before you can turn on this button here. And also they have a clean tool here. You have a little knife at the end. So if there are any hair that get caught underneath the wheel or in the dustbin, you can just use this to kind of pry it out, and then we'll cut it, and you have a little brush to brush things off. And here in front of it, you pull it out. This is a module that you can exchange with different preset module that they also sell. It does have ability to upgrade to a mop module, so this can vacuum and mop. As far as for the iRobot, so here's the top. You will see the on-off button here. Right above it, that's the spot clean. And then there's a home button to go home to. The dustbin is actually here. Here's the dustbin. So some other stuff that's worth mentioning is the charging station. So here is the iRobot one. You do need 1.5 feet from either side to be free of obstructions, and 4 feet in front of the charging station for the robot to be able to go back home to. And as far as for the Yeedi, also require free of obstructions, 1.6 feet from either side, and then 5 feet in front of it. If you look at the back, you can wrap around the cable to shorten it, because a lot of time what happens is the cable will be too long, then it's a tripping hazard. The bottom is a little sticker I can just peel off. A lot of time what happens is robot will go home and then push this thing around, and it won't stay in place by having a sticky bottom. So this way it will remain in place if you have a, let's say, concrete floor or a wooden tile floor. Let's look underneath. So you see here there's a brush. Once you get it out of the box, you just push this down and then it will secure in place. As far as for the iRobot, this brush is being screwed down, so you do require a screw to unscrew it to get it out. For Yeedi, there are 6 sensors on the side. It's anti-drop sensors, so if it's near a cliff or by the stairs, it will sense there's a drop and then won't go any further to prevent damage to the robot. For the iRobot, there are 4 here, It's also on the side, but it doesn't cover as much as the Yeedi does. Oh, this is for the battery. You do need to remove this tab before you can recharge it. So something else I want to talk about is the brush. Now they are relatively easy to get it out, the brush, and you can clean it and whatnot, and then put it back by just, yeah, there's two tabs here where you can squeeze in to remove it. For the iRobot, as you can see, this is much bigger in terms of brush, but this one has a rotor and a brush that's kind of separate. I don't know if it's bigger would be better, and we'll find out in a little bit when we do the test. But as far as for removing the bracket, you squeeze the two yellow tabs to bring it up, and then you can remove the rotor and the brush to wash it or to clean. For the Yeedi, it requires more than 4 hours of recharging. For the iRobot, it requires at least 3 hours. The runtime on paper is for 110 minutes. For the iRobot on paper, it says 90 minutes of runtime. Alright, so after some time of testing this too, here are my thoughts about them. Now, physically, they about the same size, and in terms of pricing, the iRobot is selling for $279 and for Yeedi is $299. Although they both are under $300, but they constantly have sales going on. So at the time of filming, this iRobot is actually $249, and for the Yeedi is at $254, but also with a $15 coupon at the time of checkout. So it makes this Yeedi under $240 at time of filming. Now let's talk about the differences. And some of them are pretty big, and I think they are deal breakers for me to pick one over the other one. Now for the dustbin, now the Yeedi is inside, so you can open up the lid and then take out the trash bin. But for iRobot, it's on the front. So there was one time I had to pick up the robot to put it back to the base, and at the time, unfortunately, I pressed this, and then instead of picking up the entire robot, I took out the trash bin, and then all the trash came out spilled on the floor. So that was one of the things that really drive me nuts at that point, because all the trash was just finished vacuuming, and now they're all on the floor. And another thing is that for iRobot, there's only one setting: high power. Yeah, that was it. So it is really, really loud, and it goes really fast. Now for the Yeedi, it actually has 3 settings. It's the low, medium, and high power. Now, as far as for the speed, it goes pretty mellow, I would say, compared to the iRobot. iRobot just gunning it the whole time. I have done a test regarding picking up coffee ground on the floor. So iRobot has this feature called the spot clean, but for Yeedi it does not, but it has this feature in their app called the zone clean. For the iRobot, it was unfortunate because the brush brush the coffee ground away from where it's supposed to get sucked up. So at the end of the spot clean, not only it did not do its job, but make the coffee ground all over the place. In turn, I took out the brush and then tried again. And the second time was much better off to pick up the coffee ground off the floor. Now, as far as for Yeedi, it was really great in terms of zone clean. So I set up that in the app. It was able to clean up most of the coffee ground on the floor the first try. So it was really good. I don't even have to take out the brush. I think that if I take out the brush, it will be even easier to spot clean that entire zone. Those are like the minor differences. Now let's talk about the really big differences. And that's where the deal breaker comes in. So for iRobot, we actually test out their top of the line robot vacuum before. I'll link it up top so you can go check it out. We were really impressed by it. It will not only be able to suck up a lot of trash off the ground, but the app itself is very fantastic to work with. Unfortunately, for this particular model, 694, for some reason, iRobot decided not to have a lot of feature within the app to support this robot. It's very unfortunate because the app is just lack too many stuff to be bothered with to buy this unit. Now to start out with, this thing does not map. Don't get me wrong, iRobot is plenty of power. It has the speed, it has the suction, but the thing is without mapping, it just keep running around endlessly. Case to point, I physically watched the iRobot to vacuum my first floor. It took only about almost 40 minutes to vacuum the entire first floor. That's really fast compared to Yeedi. But the thing is, because it has no power of mapping, it doesn't know where it already vacuumed and where it hasn't. And a lot of time what happens is when it goes into a room to vacuum, it doesn't vacuum all the corners of the room for some reason. One area I watched it was when it go into the bathroom. It just one corner it refused to go. I just don't understand why. But it go in that bathroom like 3 times before it actually go into somewhere else. So this is driving me nuts. It has a lot going for it, hardware, but the software has nothing to show for. Essentially, you turn on the iRobot, it will vacuum everywhere, but it doesn't know when to stop until the battery is drained, or you press the button on the software. It's very frustrating. Because of these issues with mapping, it does not know how to go home. Even when it's running low on battery, I will see it on the app, I will hear from the vacuum, but it does not know where home base is. It's supposed to go home, but it's just kind of stuck in this room. The base is all the way over by the front door. 4 out of 5 times I had to physically pick up the iRobot and bring it back to the home base. Even when I toss the vacuuming and send it back home, it just won't go. It just keep roaming around. So without the software to back it up, it doesn't matter how good the hardware is. It just got nothing to show for it. Now as far as for Yeedi, it has the mapping function. And it is being working really great. I would know exactly where this robot is and where it has vacuum. Now for this robot, it has a feature where if it's run out of juice, it will go back to the base, recharge itself for about 2 hours until it gets to half point of the battery life, and then it will continue on to vacuum until it's finished. Because you get a lot of control over the app, you can set no-go zone. But for iRobot, there is no-go zone because you cannot control it via the app. There's no mapping, right? So what iRobot came out with a solution is you have to buy a physical barrier. Yeah, I know that's kind of stupid. You have to buy a physical barrier to set up in a certain place so that this vacuum will not go near it or go through it. But for Yeedi, you don't. You just control it via the app. Like, I think that's a no-brainer. For Yeedi, because it's slow and takes its time, it does take much longer. When I was testing it, it's come out to be under 60 minutes. It had to go back to recharge. The whole process took about 70 some odd minutes for it to finish the entire first floor. For the Yeedi, this particular model, you can actually upgrade. It has a place where you can exchange modules, where you can buy mopping modules to hook it underneath. So this thing can actually mop. The Yeedi also provide you with a self-empty dustbin that's come extra. Down the road, if you decide to do upgrades, Yeedi definitely have more route for you to go about. But iRobot does none. I mean, you have to buy extra physical object in order to set up a barrier. In conclusion, because these two are similar price, it really comes down to what they really offer. For iRobot, the deal breaker is its app. Without the mapping function, for the lack of better word, this machine is utterly useless. You do need to have the mapping function in order to make a robotic vacuum work and work well. Now for the Yeedi, it's no brainer. For the price and the value it comes with, and also the upgrade path that you can have, makes this Yeedi a much better choice compared to the iRobot. So if you have any questions, comment down below. Until next time, bye.